Before the internet coined the term, they were already running the town. 6 names, 1 bloodline. Welcome to Old Hollywood, where your last name was your ticket to the dream factory. No auditions, no struggle, just a famous father, a legendary mother, and a red carpet rolled out before they could walk. These weren't just actors. They were heirs to the kingdom. Meet the original 6 Nepo babies. You won't believe how far the legacy goes. Number 1. Jane Fonda. When you're born to Hollywood royalty, can you ever truly be an outsider? Jane Fonda was a creature of Hollywood from the cradle. Her father, Henry Fonda, was one of the most iconic actors of the Golden Age, the star of 12 Angry Men and The Grapes of Wrath. But here's the thing, she never wanted his help. When Jane started out, critics dismissed her as just Henry's daughter, so she pushed herself harder. She took 4 acting classes instead of 1, determined to prove she wasn't a dilettante. She admitted her father's fame got her noticed, but she said, "I worked harder," so no one could say she coasted on his name. Her hard work paid off, big time. Jane won her first Academy Award for Klute in 1971, and a second for Coming Home in 1978. Then, in 1981, she did something no one else has ever done. She and her father became the first father-daughter duo to be nominated for Oscars in the same year, for the same film, On Golden Pond. In the movie, they played father and daughter, just like real life. It was a rare chance to bridge the painful distance between them. The nepotism label never really fit Jane Fonda. She carried a famous name, sure, but she built a legacy that was entirely her own. Number 2. Liza Minnelli. Imagine being born with 2 of the most famous names in Hollywood history. Judy Garland, Vincente Minnelli. By the time Liza Minnelli was 14 months old, she was already in a movie, crawling across the set of In the Good Old Summertime while her mother sang. Raised at MGM Studios, she learned to dance before she could read. Her father joked her career was simply preordained. But here's what most people don't know. Having Judy Garland as a mother was no golden ticket. Terrifying, Liza called her, stinging critiques I came to dread. A 5-year-old girl who accidentally kicked her mother's head learned that the screaming never really stopped. A feeling of deep inadequacy, she later admitted. Years later, I wonder if I fully risen above it. So at 16, she ran, moved to New York City alone, worked off-Broadway, built herself from scratch. And in 1972, cabaret exploded. Sally Bowles won Liza the Academy Award for Best Actress. Then came an Emmy, 4 Tonys, a Grammy, becoming one of only 28 EGOT winners in history. She calls herself the original Nepo baby with a wink, but her legacy? That was earned in the spotlight, never in anyone's shadow. Number 3. Michael Douglas. What happens when your father doesn't just open the door, but hands you the keys to Hollywood's most legendary mansion? Meet Michael Douglas, son of Kirk Douglas, one of the most electrifying leading men of the Golden Age. But here's the twist. Kirk didn't want his son to act. Stay out of it, he warned. Too many downs, too few ups. Michael didn't listen. He studied acting anyway. Then came the gift that changed everything. Kirk held the film rights to a novel called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest for years, but couldn't get it made. So he handed them to Michael, who produced the 1975 adaptation against all odds. The film swept the Oscars, Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Director, 5 top awards. That single project established Michael as a serious force in the industry. But Michael didn't stop. He went on to win his own Oscar for Wall Street in 1987. "I'm a Nepo baby too, you know," he later admitted. So that's the way it goes. The name opened the door, but Michael Douglas kicked it down himself. Number 4. Jamie Lee Curtis. Think being the child of legends guarantees an easy ride? Think again. Jamie Lee Curtis was born with Hollywood in her veins. Her father, Tony Curtis, was Hollywood royalty, the charming star of Some Like It Hot. Her mother, Janet Leigh, forever iconic as the shower scene victim in Psycho. The doors weren't just open, they were thrown wide. But those doors nearly slammed shut forever. At just 19, Jamie Lee signed a contract and landed the lead on the TV show Operation Petticoat, a series based on her own father's hit movie. "Nepo baby," she later croaked. Then Universal fired her. She was crushed, convinced her life was over. But getting fired from Operation Petticoat proved to be the best break she never wanted. That very firing opened her schedule for a tiny, low-budget horror movie that nobody expected to succeed. It was called Halloween. The Scream Queen was born. Jamie Lee has never denied the advantages her famous name brought her. "I have navigated 44 years with the advantages my associated and reflected fame brought me," she says. "I don't pretend there aren't any." She's owned the Nepo Baby label with humor, even cheekily referencing it at the SAG Awards. She got in the door because of her parents. She built an empire through sheer grit. Number 5. Angelica Huston. What happens when your name is a dynasty, but the film that launches you nearly destroys you? Meet Angelica Huston, daughter of legendary director John Huston, granddaughter of Oscar-winning actor Walter Huston. Nepotism wasn't just an accusation, it was a howl. Her debut came in her father's 1969 film, A Walk with Love and Death. The critics were brutal. Many dismissed her as nothing more than the director's daughter. For years, she retreated from acting. She worked as a model. She became half of Hollywood's most famous power couple with Jack Nicholson. But acting? That door had slammed shut. Then came 1985. Her father directed Prizzi's Honor. He offered her the role of Mayor Rose Prizzi, against all advice. The industry was watching, waiting for her to fail. She didn't. She delivered a performance so stunning that she won the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. On that stage, holding her Oscar, she proved that the daughter of John Huston was an artist in her own right. Especially in this kind of work, it's all about who you are, who you know, what you can do, and how you can prove yourself. It took me a long time to do that. Number 6. Drew Barrymore. What happens when your last name is Hollywood royalty, but your childhood becomes a cautionary tale? Meet Drew Barrymore. The Barrymore name is arguably the most famous acting dynasty in American history. Her great-uncle and great-aunt were Lionel and Ethel Barrymore. Her grandfather was the legendary John Barrymore. She was literally born into the royal family of the American stage. Her career began at 11 months old. By age 7, she was Gertie in E.T. the Extraterrestrial, a global superstar before she could even spell her own name. But the fairy tale turned into a nightmare. Drew had her first drink at 9. She was smoking marijuana by 10, snorting cocaine at 12. Her mother checked her into rehab at 13. Then came a suicide attempt. She was 14 years old. Hollywood blacklisted her. Nobody would hire that mess. So she did something extraordinary. At 15, she legally emancipated herself from her parents, moved into her own apartment, and rebuilt her life from nothing. She launched her own production company, Flower Films, and produced hits like Never Been Kissed, Charlie's Angels, and 50 First Dates. Then came her directorial debut, Whip It. And today, she hosts her own Emmy-winning talk show. She was born with a golden name, but she carved her own legacy out of sheer survival. That's the final original Nepo Baby. 6 names, 6 dynasties, 6 stories of privilege, pressure, and paying their own way. 6 dynasties, 6 survivors. Which one surprised you most? Comment below. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Next time, Hollywood's other Nepo Babies, the ones nobody talks about. See you there.